Just wanted to check in with everyone. 2 weeks ago, I came down with something on a day that I normally record. I got sick and I wasn't able to get a video out that weekend. And then the following weekend was Thanksgiving. I did a recording recently, which I planned to edit, but my computer sabotaged me. Turns out it recorded the whole thing through the mic on the webcam instead of the microphone I normally use for the podcast. And trust me, you would not have wanted to listen to it. The audio was awful, but I will get back to our series on the Book of Mormon next week, and I will re-record that episode. But I also have been hard at work on several projects that I thought I would share with you. I had two separate groups of people reach out to me about obtaining copies of the very first book I wrote, which is called God's Strange Act. And this is the book that immediately upon finishing it and then praying to God about what to do with it, the voice of His Spirit spoke to me and said, there will be a great harvest out of the LDS Church. And this is back in 2007. And so apparently this book still has some role to play. One of the groups that reached out is a group of Levites. And the second group is a group of Native Americans and people that are involved with Indian ministries who meet together. And one of them had received a dream from the Lord telling him to get this book out of his shelf, which he hadn't read in many years. I don't think he even remembered too much about it. And the Holy Spirit led him to go to chapter 19, which is titled, Where Do We Go From Here? And it was significant to him, and he shared it with others, and then it has become significant to them as well. I guess there was a sermon preached out in Grain Valley about that. And so it's some discussion going on among a number of people. They're wanting to do a study. And the funny thing is, I had pulled this book from the market because I knew there were some issues with it. I wrote it 15 years ago or more, and I have learned many things since then. I knew there needed to be corrections. Chapter 19, which this man was led to, I didn't have to touch. It was perfect. But there were some other issues earlier in the book. And I kept having this thought come to me in recent months that I should revise that book. But having so many other things to do, I kept putting it off. Well, turns out I should have paid attention to that little voice telling me to do this because this book was needed like yesterday. And when I say yesterday, I mean like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I spent an intense week, just hours every single day. I mean, on the weekends, I was spending 6 to 8 hours working on this, reading through the book, making edits, and adding some things that I needed to add in there. But in any case, that book is now available on Lulu.com, which is my publisher. I'll link to the book down below in this video's description. If you search Lulu.com coupon codes, do a Google search, you can find coupon codes to help lower the price of the book or maybe take care of the cost of the shipping and handling. This book is set for global distribution, which means eventually it will appear on Amazon and other places. That could be 6 weeks or more for that to show up. But this is why the price point on the book is higher than I would like. I think it's $17.50 or something like that. And that's because not only does Lulu have to make up the cost of printing the book, but also they have to make a profit. So they charge a certain amount themselves. And then the third-party distributors like Amazon put their additional charge above that. And when you do a global distribution, you have to set one single price point that meets all of their goals, which means they're all at $17.50. But like I said, if you search for Lulu.com coupon codes, you can usually find one and lower that price. I've also been hard at work on my 2 fantasy books. Among the Ruins of the Kingdom is the name of the series. 2 books, and it's a YA or young adult which definitely has Christian themes to it, very strong Christian themes. These books have been a passion project of mine. As a teenager, when I was far from God, I read The Lord of the Rings. And those books really stirred something up inside of me, reconnecting me to God. It was almost like an outreach tool, and it reached me even though I was, far from God, didn't really care about church or anything like that. But they gave me a real sense of truth and justice and mercy and good versus evil, and the nature of these forces and their effects on people. It caused me to realize that we are all a hero in our own story who can either stay home and be safe or go on a journey that might be filled with danger, but in doing so fulfill our purpose here in this life and make a difference. And that is how I see these two books that I've written as kind of like very long parables, but their aim is to stir something up in people, something spiritual, something that connects them to God. I also wanted to explore certain themes and understandings I had come to regarding the true nature of God. Those understandings came through asking questions, hard questions, regarding his nature and the things we see written in the scriptures, particularly some of the differences between what we see in the Old Testament versus the New Testament. What does it really mean when we talk about the wrath of God or God's anger, especially in light of Christ? Christ, who is God come in the flesh, and surely he came to set the record straight and show us what he is really like. And we know the scriptures say that he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But then that brings a lot of questions to my mind, because growing up and even into my adult years, I tried to reconcile certain things in the scriptures, and I really felt like the Lord answered many of those questions and helped me to understand him. But to try to teach that as doctrine or, to convince people of it isn't really the thing to do. That's not my call. However, in these stories, I can explore some of those themes and some of those understandings in a story form that takes place in some faraway land in another time, in a fantasy world, which means you don't have to accept anything in there as being some absolute truth for this world, but it allows for the exploration of different thought and understanding about the nature of God. I believe this story can really stir something up in people, especially in young people. It's definitely a YA or young adult, or adults seem to enjoy it. Definitely not something for young children, as I think there are elements to it that could be quite scary. In any case, the first book in the series, which is titled Gateway of the Ancients, should be out within a few weeks. And the second book, Into the Den of Evil, possibly a few weeks after that, depending on how long proofing takes. I'm on my second round now of proofing, almost done, but I want to give a chance for some test readers to take a look at it in the next few days. Well, that's what's going on with me at the moment. I look forward to getting to that next podcast on the Book of Mormon, which should be out next weekend. And until next time, God bless.